Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, Season 1, Episode 8. It's called Chapter 8, The Burial. So, full spoilers for the episode, as always. So, the main caved in, as was kind of
Yeah.
expected, based on this
No,
spell last episode.
not enough deaths.
You say that, there was a fair bit of death.
Yeah, but not the one I was hoping for.
You're not the one you were hoping for, but as I said last time, I was not rooting for Harvey's death, and I didn't expect it either, for that matter.
I'm disappointed.
So Harvey's alive and well. Wells maybe going a little bit too far, since he's a little bit upset that his brother has been left down there for death.
Yeah.
Where his father just says, "You know what? Insurance money's more important. Let's not bother.
I mean, it's not wrong.
Can't be saved." Um, just, yeah, give him shit in the comments for that. I'm not going to bother. Um, so so we have. So it's funny because obviously, when this first came out, people were oddly comparing it to Buffy more than they should have, right? And I've cracked a few jokes here or there because I like to do my hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer joke, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's two different Buffy things in this episode that I was thinking about. Um, Throughout the plot of trying to resurrect his
Yeah.
brother, right? His brother Tom. And then what was the other one? There was another big one that was making me think of a really specific thing. Oh, yeah, in resurrecting him. So later on, like she's just questioning, oh, why is Tom not back yet? It was meant to happen 13 hours later. And then Ambrose is like, well, yeah, he didn't just pop out of nowhere. He'll be where you left him.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought she was a bit of a stupid bitch for not thinking of this. Kind of seems obvious, right?
Well, it seemes obvious because that's what happened in Buffy to me. So,
Well, no, no,
well,
no.
not to me. You know what I
It's
mean?
common sense.
Um, I mean, I would just have assumed that she knew more than we did, right? Up until this point.
I mean,
Because they had his clothes all laid out in the pentagram, right? And I assumed that they did that, and the expectation was that he'd pop into existence there.
but see, this is why it makes no sense to me. The whole thing was summoning his soul. Why would there be a body just show up there?
You're
Like,
arguing logic with witchcraft.
I know, but it made no sense. Even when I was, and I know it was right to make no sense because it was bollocks, and she was just being stupid.
um, You're being a tad harsh, but
I don't know. This is the first time that I felt she was just being moronic.
she's been naive all season. Being
No, she's
naive.
been naive. This was another level.
This I don't know. See, to me, it was such an obvious twist, partly because it had been done exactly the same in Buffy, right? That was a thing when
Mm,
spoilers for Buffy, just for the record here. But at one point, Buffy did die, and everyone brought her back. So there was some witchcraft, right? And they were shocked to discover that oh wait a minute, we maybe should have dug her up first because she had to dig her way out of her own grave. And it's kind of like a shock horror moment where Willow feels like a right idiot, right? They never considered that. So I was thinking about this. See when they were doing the resurrection spell, I was thinking, like, yeah, but won't he just be in the main still? But they never thought about it. They just kind of kept going. So I never really, I was like, whatever. Yeah, show has its own rules. Fine. And then they pulled the same twist, and I went, oh, okay, we're actually doing that twist again. That realization that shit is going to be in the main. Although seemingly he gets out okay because he's walking up to the door. And the other thing that I was thinking about with Buffy is the ending here. I don't want to spoil this moment in Buffy specifically because it's a really big prominent moment, but there's a death in Buffy where someone tries to resurrect someone, and it's a very similar moment where like the person's walking towards the door to open the front door of the house, and you see like the shadow through the window.
yeah.
It's a very similar moment. So there is actually a couple of direct comparisons to make with this episode. And both of those incidents in Buffy are very separate. Actually, they're different seasons about different people, but both of them were brought to mind in this one.
Mm. Are we finished with the Buffy talk now?
We are, but I think those were very valid talking points.
You would.
They are, though. Shake it to your face, right? Shake it to your face. It's fine. So, Joe, I like though. I'll tell you what I do like. I like that they set up the whole resurrecting Hilda thing, just for a joke more than anything else. It established the relationship between Hilda and Zelda a little bit, I suppose, but it was mostly just like a throwaway joke. So when they brought it up again here and then it was used in the plot, I was like, oh, this doesn't feel like nowhere. This feels like it's been a thing that's been around. And it's only just, I mean, it's not explained until this episode because she starts, talking about it, and Hilda explains, no, it's not that, I can just come back no matter what. She doesn't bring me back. It's the soil, it's the grave. And I think there's the neat trick here where she says, oh, but you can't use it in Immortal. Don't get any ideas. You can't just throw Tom's body down there. It only works on witches. But it neatly comes into play later when it's like, oh, well, we can sacrifice a witch for his soul and then bring her back. Even with that expectation, though, it was still kind of dark watching Sabrina slit someone's throat.
Yeah.
It was a pretty dark visual. I was like, damn, all right. Again, not on CW. Here's more proof of it.
Yeah, you don't slit throats like that on CW.
No, you cut to behind or something. You hide, or just above the neck, so you don't see the cut.
Yeah.
That's what you do. But
you get boring, is what you do.
You get what?
You get boring.
Oh, sure, yeah. Potentially. I don't know. Sometimes hiding can add to it,
but not when it's every time.
Not when it's every time. Not in CW, admittedly, but certain films in the past have hid such a detail and been more effective for it because
it can work.
Yeah. So go on, be cynical because you've already been more cynical about the things that I wasn't expecting you to be cynical about, but be cynical about the Harvey family stuff because I know you're ready to go. So
yeah, the first half of this episode was a chore, like an absolute chore to get through. Like the funeral's going on and everyone's getting all teary-eyed. I'm supposed to care. I assume I'm supposed to care.
I mean, a little bit. Like I think they did enough with Tom to make him likable enough, just so that it wasn't a meaningless death.
I mean, they didn't do enough that you remember they call him Tommy.
What? Who cares? I didn't know his name until this episode either.
This episode.
What?
He had a funeral this episode, and this is my point.
And Harvey says, "My brother Tom," or does he say Tommy?
He says Tommy.
He says Tommy. Yeah. All right, whatever. Look, Tom is Tom. It's all the same damn name. All right, Shut up.
It is, but just on principle. And I don't know. It was just I'm sitting there waiting for that to be done so I can get to the witchcraft.
You're so like black and white on this show, where it's, as soon as it shifts to things that aren't directly into the witchcraft, you're like kind of zoning out. For me, it's more like blending shades because there's like things where it sort of feeds into each other, and it kind of like the stuff with the dad is rough, right? It just is. Like I can't really get behind that. But the rest of it being the setup for why Sabrina's going to make these decisions to do something like try and bring someone back from the dead. Because it sets up the stakes quite early on where she's with Wardell, and Wardell's like, no, but I mean, there's a book of the dead, and of course she wants her to go take it because she's wanted to send her down a dark path. But she's like, no, you can't do it because there has to be balance. For you to bring someone back, someone has to die. So that set that up, and it's like, okay, so obviously she can't do it. Until, of course, it's like, well, now we know who's responsible.
We've got a loophole.
Thanks to Rosie's vision.
Yeah.
I don't mind the visions. I'm more into her visions than I am Susie's
visions.
Susie's dead great grandmother coming and talking to her on the night and telling her to crawl into the mine.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just a bit weird. I don't hate it, but I'm just not like I don't know how I feel about it yet. It's kind of just I need to see what they do with it first.
It's one of these things where so far like it's giving me this feel of they're all happening at once. It's like okay, we've got to connect them to the witch stuff, right? We've got to make up them so that when she tells them that they can be useful and join in, right?
Yeah,
and it feels like, why is it all happening at once? And
it's worth mentioning Sabrina does know about Rosie's visions. Rosie explains this and even tells her that her nan believes that it was a witch that cursed them because someone wronged a witch way back when.
So presumably she's going to go find it and undo the curse so that she doesn't go blind.
Which, to its credit, actually feels better than just her using witchcraft to actually solve an actual blind illness. Because
Yeah, it's better than that.
Because I expected that to happen, and I was kind of okay with it, but like, it was like, oh, that's a bit cheap. You can just cure any illness that pops up. Because, once again, to go back to the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and this is relevant here, and I think this is important because the show might be abiding by this to an extent. Well, it depends what happens with Tommy next episode. I'm expecting him to be kind of wrong. Like, he maybe seem fine at first. I'm expecting him to be kind of off and not be quite right. Maybe soulless even. Not unlike a certain
I wouldn't go quite
vampire.
that far, given the whole point was returning the soul. But...
True, but because they brought her back, I think there might be complications.
Yeah.
Maybe his soul start to deteriorate because death was cheated out of its prize or whatever.
Could do, yeah. Where were you going with this stuff?
No. So one of the big things in Buffy was that obviously people died and people were brought back all the time. But one of the rules was that if it was witch based or magic based or otherworldly, then they could come back. But if someone died from an illness or a gunshot or something like that, if it was like a real death, then they couldn't undo that. They had to respect the real world kind of rules, right? So I'm thinking here, if this is what they're doing with the blindness, I kind of like that instead of cheating a normal thing, because it kind of cheapens like a real condition. It's like, no, this was always witchcraft to begin with, so we're just undoing the witchcraft.
I kind of hope that it's not actually witchcraft. They think it is. They're like,
Sure.
she'll try and undo it, and it doesn't work because it is just something hereditary rather than a curse.
I could see that. I mean, you've been speaking about how you want Sabrina to have consequences for her mistakes. I think Tommy's going to be the giant consequence.
Probably.
I think whatever happens with him is going to end up making Harvey worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's your consequence.
I do have a few other little nitpicks that I want to just mention.
Sure.
One of them, so Susie comes out of the mine holding the helmet, right?
Yeah,
and
how did she find that and there was no body near it?
Yeah, and then the dad's like, that's Tommy's helmet. They all look the same. They're like standard issue. How do you know that at a glance?
Maybe there was an identifying mark, like a scratch or something they knew was his.
It was bashed in. It was literally dented and all over. It's like there is no way you can identify that.
Maybe that's his signature bash in. Go back and watch the previous episodes. He had a bash in, he said the whole time. That wasn't from the main collapsing. That was that was his signature bash in. He had a dent, he said.
Yeah. And one of my other little things is actually to do with the magic side of things.
Yeah.
So they get back to the house, and Zelda and Ambrose like, yeah, we got bad news. Ambrose is just casually like, oh yeah, I astral projected, and and I'm like 3 episodes ago, this was a huge deal, and don't do this, and now it's just whatever. It felt really flippant that he just did it. Instead of Zelda going in and him watching the body, because we know Zelda does it all the time.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he's the one that did it. I guess I would read that. I think the way to read that scene though is they at least cared enough about what was happening with Harvey and Sabrina's friends.
No, I get the intent.
Yeah, they took the risk to do it and find out for sure.
It just seemed like such a strange choice to me, given that the whole thing was no, he can't leave the house even on the astral plane. Like that was part of the thing. And
that's one of the things I actually kind of like about this episode the most is how even like Hilda and especially Zelda and obviously Ambrose as well, they all seem to care about this. It's not like they just like, oh, mortals, who cares? Like they actually kind of care the fact that Sabrina's upset about it. When Zelda answers the phone, she actually gives a shit. It's kind of what we've been doing with Zelda a lot over the last like few episodes of like kind of giving her more of a heart, giving her more of a soul. Like it's kind of like more of that kind of side of things. But I kind of appreciated that a little bit. So as much as I agree that Harvey's dad stuff's not particularly good, it's not even the concept's bad. It's just like the writing and the acting just doesn't nail it.
So hammy and stereotypical.
Yeah. So no, that was fine. Yeah, that was kind of everything in the main plot, right? More or less.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I say, so Sabrina and the girls, because I think it's worth mentioning Prudence actually, how she was left out of the, because we mentioned, obviously we talked about it a little bit last time because she was left out of the initial spell, but her finding out and getting scary with the sisters.
Yeah, her kind of teaming up with Sabrina a little bit.
Yeah, uneasy alliance. I mean, I'm not doing this intentionally, but it's kind of a Cordelia almost-esque thing.
It's not.
It kind of is.
It's really not.
It kind of is. She's the bitchy bully, but ultimately she's going to be an uneasy ally, and then maybe eventually a full ally.
No, it's not. It's not the same.
I'm not saying it's the exact same. I'm saying there's some similarities.
You would say that.
I am making valid points.
I disagree.
Well, you compare it to something then.
It doesn't need to be compared to anything.
Doesn't need to be. So you've got two options here. Either you admit that my comparison to Buffy is an apt one, or you imply that this is extremely original and no one has ever done anything similar. Which, I mean, you can praise it that much if you want. I mean, I don't mind. But
I'm pretty sure there's a middle ground.
That's not middle ground. Shut up. How dare you? How dare you insult me with your middle ground?
Not everything has to be brought back to Buffy.
Not everything has to, but everything can do, and that's the beauty of it.
Oh, god damn it.
But no. So no, it's funny because during it clocked at one point what they were going to do with the body, like they were going to bring her back. But the scene of her actually slashing the throat, like the actual spell, and everyone showing up and standing around the pentagram. I was like, man, are we going dark here? Are we going down like a sort of like is Sabrina going to have to like have some sort of redemption after this kind of thing? Is she going too much to the dark side? But she's actually she's her same old peppy self afterwards, even though she still had to physically slit someone's throat. I mean, I know she came back, but it still takes a lot out of someone, I think, to do that for the first time.
You would think.
Yeah.
You would, yeah.
But
maybe that is something that is a critique that
maybe
we should have had that affect her a bit.
Yeah. I mean, even if just when Ambrose was talking to her afterwards, when he's yelling at her and stuff, if she just looked a little bit distraught that she'd done that, and maybe when she said, "Oh, it's okay," she came back. Maybe have her like almost sound kind of hesitant as she says that, like she's saying that to convince herself.
Just be nervous in that wait. Where what if she doesn't come back? What if it doesn't work?
Yeah. Very confident. But I mean, Prudence was all for it. She was like, "No, don't tell her she's coming back."
Teach her a lesson.
Teach her a lesson for betraying me.
Yeah.
Do you know what's funny? Because one of the sisters isn't a regular; they're a guest star.
Just one of them.
Yeah, but it's not the one who died. And I was convinced they're going to kill the other one because that's why she's a guest star. She's on the chopping block.
Someone just has a shitty manager and needs some better contract negotiations.
Maybe we should get up to regular next year.
Yeah. She's just losing money every episode.
Which, by the way, her name is Dorcas. And when they were saying it in this episode, it was just sounding like Dorcas, like as in the insult, like D-O-R-K. Where it's not spelled that way. It's like, it's D-O-R-C-A-S. And it looks kind of satanic, when you see it in writing. But it sounds like Dorcas, like you're a dork. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. It does sound like that.
I think that's why she's aligned herself with Prudence, because then by association she's the top, part of the top dogs.
Yeah, it's like no one's picking on me for my name.
Yeah, prison rules. You align yourself with the biggest and strongest.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So other plots. So Ambrose wants to get out of his sentence, and Blackwood comes by to talk to him about it.
Yeah, Luke's just he's cool with Blackwood. It's like I'll put in a word for him.
He's got connections. Yeah, Luke's got connections. And he comes over, and we find out that as he he said before that he tried to blow up the Vatican. But we find out he had conspirators. He had like a almost a father figure that was kind of leading him down this path. And he was offered immunity at the time if he would give up everyone else who was part of the plot, and he didn't do that. So Blackwood says, "Hey, that offer still stands," and he's left with that choice. But he turns him down, And Blackwood's impressed. He's like, no, that's good. Loyalty is something I look for. Right, here we go. You can come to the school. You can work there as community service. That'll be allowed. And then hopefully we can build up to you getting your sentence taken away properly.
Yeah. So, I think he's happy just to, even just to the school. It's like, it beats just the house, right?
It's somewhere else. It's a lot more people going around. People to talk to.
It's still, okay, one building to another building, but hey, it's a different building.
Nah, I think it's an outcome here because it's a light at the end of the tunnel because you can see how this would build to maybe something later, but it's also in the meantime he gets to go somewhere else at least for a bit.
Yeah.
So that's the thing.
Blackwood's definitely going to have him do some shady stuff.
Almost certainly. Speaking of Blackwood doing shady stuff, Zelda being the shady stuff in this sense. They have this weird moment where she wants to confess, satanic confession. And it somehow turns into him complaining that his wife has not been up for sex in like months, and I mean they've had kind of a weird thing for a while. Like at least she seems attracted to him and always has been, and they have a moment and they kiss, and then the next day Zelda's really peppy. It's like that episode of Parks and Rec where Ron has sex and everyone knows he's had sex because he's walking around whistling.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that because Hilda's like, "What's happened to you? You look happy and you're ray of sunshine," as she's off to work in her stupid Bride of Frankenstein outfit.
Stupid or awesome?
Depends on my mood. If I'm in the mood for jovial, then it's awesome. If I'm feeling a bit more serious, then take that stupid wig off. So, but the more interesting scene is later on. So it's when he comes back to speak to Ambrose again for the second part of that. She comes to speak to him and takes him into a room and tells him the news that he's having twin boys, and then tries to kiss him, and he kind of like, oh no. It seems like he's going to tell her, no, you were an itch, you've been scratched, get away from me, and she's going to be hurt by this, right? That's what it felt like the scene was going.
It did, yeah.
And then it turned into, no, this is all just a bit of role playing because he wants an excuse to be whipped.
It was like, you got a cat of nine tails lying around, of course. And just like, I mean, somewhere. That's, well, of course, everyone has one somewhere.
Oh, yeah. I've got 3 in the closet, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because at first it's like, oh no, you're going to be whipped because you committed adultery. And then it was like, and then you can whip me, and then he's got like a smirk in his face, and then she's like, "Oh yes, that does sound fair." Yes, I'm like, "All right, okay."
And she's like, "Oh, I get it."
Kinky shit. All right, whatever. Go for it. So that was that. As we mentioned, Roz had her visions. Susie's dead grandmother or great grandmother or great whatever the level of descendant was. She showed up and spoke to her again.
Told her it's just the start.
You sound thrilled by that.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm already a little bit tedious of this plot.
It's funny because I think compared to CW shows again, not even Riverdale, I'm thinking of let's say The Flash, right, or even Arrow, where gradually over like 3 seasons, everyone in the show has to either become someone with a costume or a power, right? Where everyone has to be included, right, and it's a full team. And that's okay to a point, but it does seem... Because I think we think of superheroes as being more loner characters than that, where they don't have like teams all the time. They maybe have teams later, they join up and make Justice Leagues and things like that, but we think of the Flash as operating solo in the city. But no, he's got a team, he's got Vibe, he's got Killer Frost, he's got Elongated Man now.
Gotta have a supporting cast.
Iris is the oracle of the show, and so on. Like all these things happen.
Every show's got to have an oracle.
Apparently, yeah. That's it was fine in Arrow, and then it was okay Flash, but then Supergirl kind of has it as well. I was like, okay, come on, this is the only way you know how to write superhero stories, is to have it this way. Stop it. Superheroes did fine without all these supporting like people in the ears talking to them.
Arrow got away with it because it was doing Batman, right? So you kind of just let it slide. It's like, well, yeah, you're doing Batman, fine, you can have an oracle.
Yeah. But the point I'm making though is that this is kind of doing the same thing, where everyone's kind of gradually becoming closer link to the witching world.
Except it's happening a lot quicker than in the other shows. It's
It is happening a lot quicker.
Get everyone in season 1.
And I actually don't know, because part of me feels like, well, at least we don't have to kind of wait for it to gradually happen over 3 years and just sort of have the gradual eye rolling. Is it better to just get the admittedly really kind of weird and abrupt version, but at least it's over quick? You know, it's like ripping off a Band-Aid. You just...
No, I prefer the other, because at least it feels a little bit more natural in the other version, where it's like, okay, you know, people find out, one by one, you know, they develop over the, you know, people change over the course of a couple of years, and
sure.
This is a month since we started the show, maybe 6 weeks, I don't know.
Varies character to character. I mean, this is not much of a compliment.
It's less than a month because it's Black Friday, isn't it? Although witches have a different Black Friday.
Yeah, I actually laughed at that. I was just like, oh, it's Black Friday, and Zelda's like, no, it certainly is not. It's like, no, not Witch Black Friday, Mortal Black Friday.
Yeah.
And she looks confused, like she doesn't know what Black Friday is. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You've had this funeral home on the mortal world for how long? Like,
yeah.
You've heard of Black Friday.
Yeah. So I mean, we're only like 3 to 4 weeks since the start of the show.
Yeah, it's been taking place over about a month. Yeah.
Yeah, and then, or you know, now that Roz has visions, Susie has visitations.
Susie's one's really weird. Roz, obviously, yeah, it kind of came out of nowhere to a point, but
at least the blind element of it was set up quite early on.
The blind element was set up, so it feels like it's linked in back to something kind of again like setting up the Hilda coming back to life thing. It feels like that was kind of seeded in a way, and also the backstory specifically feels tied into at least the main like plot and themes of what's going on to some extent.
Yeah.
And unlike say like in in Arrow when Laurel decided to train for about 3 episodes and then became a vigilante, and you're just kind of like, wait, what? At least this is a power where, okay, if she's going to be useful, she can be useful like this right from the start, right?
Yeah, because we've got to have a vibe.
She's the vibe, yeah, she is. She's actually the vibe. Which means Susie's Killer Frost. I can't wait to meet the alternate Killer Frost personality.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Me too. But I'm not, but...
Yeah, you are. Deep down you are. You know you are.
Maybe these are the leftover elements from the CW of, it's got to be that team setup.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I enjoy a good Scooby Gang. I think one of the things that those CW shows do, though, is they feel they need to make everyone feel kind of like they become something. And you don't need to. There's actually a good art form in making sure a couple of them stay normal, you know?
Yeah. Because, I mean, I guess... To go back to your Buffy, you did have Xander.
Yes, you did have Xander. And, you know, like, Willow's, you know, graduation to a witch took a bit of time. It wasn't like a sudden thing.
It was like season 4 by the time that started going properly?
No, it was, well, season 2 finale is when she first did something out of necessity, right?
Yeah.
And then she was practicing throughout season 3. But it was very gradual. You know, she didn't get super powerful until like 5 when she was starting to do like spells to keep people back and shit like that.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like 4 is where I think of okay, she's probably a witch now.
Yeah.
Well, little bits before, but not really up until then.
Yeah. So you have normal people. You have Xander. And even the character like Dawn, who did have a kind of a mystical backstory, she was still normal.
Yeah,
you know,
Cordelia for the most part.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Eventually, there was like a weird thing, but you know, like whenever it changed, though, it felt like a sort of natural progression for the most part. Like it felt like
Whereas this just feels like quick, do something.
Yeah, I think having them both like basically start in the same episode was a mistake. I would have saved Susie's for next season.
Yeah, I wouldn't do these both in the same season.
Yeah,
not at all.
But here we are. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes, and what comes of it. Like, I don't know. Is it like a Susie power that our dead grandmother's coming to her, or is it more that the dead grandmother herself is a supernatural force that's? I mean, is it not really her? Is it like something else manipulated? Because that'd be a nice twist, actually, if it was actually something evil.
Yeah, I'd say it probably is something evil, but it seemed help. It seemed to actually help at the mine, right? It was like, oh, you're small enough, you can get in there.
Yeah, until unless she was hoping that she'd get crushed in the mine.
Yeah, but there's way easier ways to convince someone to die.
You've been
I'm
thinking
sure.
about that. Carter's got a list. He's checked it twice. Yeah, well,
Look,
that's
I will not stand for Christmas references in this early in November. Stop it now.
I would have made that reference regardless of what time of the year it
Yeah,
was.
well, it's close enough now that Christmas decorations are up in the shops. And I'm sick of it already, and I don't want to hear any more about it for at least another 3 weeks.
All right, that's Sabrina episode 8. That was a bit of a tangent at the end. But we've got 2 more left. You can expect episode 9 the day after tomorrow, barring any delays, and we will see for that. Let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us in the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel and everything we do here on the show, head over to patreon.com/mailedfuzztv, and you can do that over there. Get some bonuses, some stuff early. And a few other things, but mostly just feel warm and fuzzy because you're helping out and supporting. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching and listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?